All right, how's everybody doing this evening? Once again, this area of the world is pretty much closed and probably will remain closed for quite some time. In fact, I think in Southern California, some of the beaches are going to be open, but not the Carlsbad Beach. So we're even lagging behind with that. But I want to talk about what's not lagging back right now, and that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's staying up over $7,500. I think it got up as high as 77. I don't know if it quite reached 78, but Bitcoin, as I stated in previous videos, been doing very, very, very well. I continue to see it do well. And it's probably one of the only assets that I feel comfortable purchasing without having some price manipulation by the government. And what I'm talking about is whenever it seems lately some part of the economy starts to falter, the Federal Reserve is able to come in, print some money, and get that part of the economy going again. As example with these farmers, as example with commodities, as example with the airlines and all these different things. They don't seem to want to pick up pick up and buy Bitcoin to hold the Bitcoin market up. And actually, when you think about it, when we have a pandemic like we have today, where prices of everything, like is gold and oil and everything else. Gold has actually gone up, I think, but oil has gone below zero. As everything like this goes down, it's going to cause real assets to become less valuable. Houses, maybe real estate, who knows? Of course, oil, commodities, corn, wheat, all these different commodities going down, trading lower. Stocks, see, it's done what it's done to the stock market. I think it's rebounded somewhat, but it's very, very low compared to what it was. But as the economy starts to falter like this, and the government is able to come in and buy up these assets at a very low price, just like they did with the banks, too big to fail. You can't let the airlines fail, so you have to come in and you have to prop up the price. It's a very unstable market to be investing in. It's very difficult to pick up a place in the markets where you might want to buy, and somehow a bailout may not affect or will affect what it is that you're doing. It's not a true market. For instance, oil right now is very, very low. I mean, it might be a good idea to go long oil, but all of a sudden tomorrow, if there's a big stimulus for the oil industry, you probably up your long position, but it would affect how your investment takes place, or what would happen with your investment. It may help your investment, but it's not something that you can really know what's going to happen if they keep bailing everything out and keep getting themselves involved with it, because no one really knows what the next plan is except the people that are inside, and they know exactly what they're going to do. But if you're an individual investor, you could get wiped out pretty quickly. Bitcoin's the only one that they're probably not messing around with right now. And obviously I'm very pro Bitcoin, and I'm pro most of the cryptocurrencies. I think the cryptocurrencies were designed for this time. This is their time. It's kind of like a football player, sitting on the sidelines waiting to play. This is Bitcoin's opportunity to get in the game. Bitcoin has never been around during a period of time where we've had this much problems in the markets. Of course, it wasn't around in 2008 with the banking crisis, and previous times where we've had financial crisis. Bitcoin was not around. So this is one of the first times we'll get to try and see how well Bitcoin does. This is Bitcoin's time, and I really think this is the time that Bitcoin will show what it has to offer to people, where everybody's not knowing what to do and not knowing how to handle all the collapsing and all the down market that we're having right now with everything. So this is time for Bitcoin. And obviously, like I said in the video, an interesting story behind Bitcoin. We don't know who the inventor of Bitcoin is. Interesting point, I'll tell you that I named someone as I think who was involved with the development of Bitcoin. I don't think he's the only person. I think he was maybe one of the people involved with it. And I actually got a very interesting text from somebody. Was it a text or was it a telegram? I think it was Telegram, telling me about some information that was very interesting about that video. Watch that video, and gave me some extra information but asked me not to share it with anybody on YouTube. So until I can get the person to let me share the information with you, there's some additional information that gives you some idea how Bitcoin was created, that this person's been able to discover, which is very interesting now. And I've checked it out as well as I can check it out. Obviously, nobody can know for sure, but there's some other very interesting facts about the creation of Bitcoin that people should know more about. And I'd like to tell you what this person told me, but I told him I wouldn't put it on YouTube, so I'm not going to. So I won't do that. I won't violate that promise. But the fact that there was over 30,000 lines of code developed by Satoshi Nakamoto, a C++, pretty much impervious code that was tried to be hacked and ruined and could not be. The fact that one person could sit down and write that much code and not have it be able to be broken would be almost impossible for one person to do this. It would be almost impossible for one person to be a good enough cryptographer, coder, understand the economics, understand peer-to-peer, understand all these different elements of Bitcoin to be able to do it. One person that did not do Bitcoin. I don't know who did Bitcoin, but I can tell you one thing: it wasn't one single person. I don't even care how intelligent. They claim Nick Szabo is intelligent enough to do it, and he had the idea of BitGold. But if you look at BitGold, it still was a long way, and I think it's called BitGold. It was a long way from Bitcoin, and there was a lot of problems with security and peer-to-peer. There was a lot of problems with the double spending problem. There was a lot of problems that needed to be solved and figured out. And this one person was able to do that. Would have been impossible. It's like Nick Szabo says. He said, I'd like to take the credit for it because obviously, and he's a pretty smart guy, obviously whoever did create Bitcoin, you're talking about somebody that I wouldn't even think that it's possible. It'd be like somebody that could, run 100 meters in, 8 seconds flat. You'll never see that. Nobody could ever do that. Nobody's going to run 100 meters in 8 seconds. So no one's going to create Bitcoin by themselves, and not only create Bitcoin by themselves, but then remain anonymous to the world and not let anybody else know about it. And there's some other interesting stories. I would encourage you to watch some videos about who Satoshi is, because there's some interesting connections and parallel pieces of information that don't add up, that don't make any sense about who the creator was. We don't know. We don't know. But I do know one thing: it's a limited supply. It halves every 4 years, and it works. And everybody's tried to break it, and governments around the world have tried to stop it. Nobody's been able to break it. Nobody's been able to stop it. And it's a limited supply. It works very well, and it's very efficient, and it's peer-to-peer, and it works around the world. So yeah, I think it's going to be future money. Now, it's current money, but I'm thinking it's going to be future currency, a world reserve currency, possibly. The other thing I was going to say a little bit too is if the dollar starts to lose value because of the stimulus that's going on, it not only affects the United States. I mean, it affects all the countries in the world that own dollars, and of course, for many years, the dollar's been what they call the petrodollar, which means countries have to own it in order to purchase oil. So if the dollar continues to decrease in value, other countries are going to want to limit the number of dollars they hold, or to try to get rid of the dollars they hold, because they know the stimulus that the country is doing right now is going to affect them financially too. So there'll be someplace they're going to be trying to move that money to, and it could very well be cryptocurrency. Instead of keeping it in U.S. dollars, and I think it'll positively affect all cryptocurrencies. I love Ethereum, but I still think they got to come up with a solution for the proof of work. They keep coming up with some ideas. I think eventually they'll just give it up and probably do something pretty close to what EOS is doing. Of course, EOS is continuing to work and maintain its position. People ask me why I'm talking so much more about Bitcoin than EOS, simply because I think Bitcoin's got to go up first. I think Bitcoin's got to lead the parade, so I'm going to start pushing Bitcoin. People have, once they understand Bitcoin, then we'll understand EOS a little bit better too. So I'm trying to get people to think about Bitcoin, and most of all, just trying to encourage them to buy Bitcoin, because I think we're in times like right now where I think Bitcoin could be very successful as an investment, as it's been for me since I've been doing these videos. I think last time I looked, well, I buy cryptocurrencies at different prices, but the last time I bought a Bitcoin, I'm up $1,500, and that was probably less than a week or two ago. I'll have to look at it exactly, but I think I'm up $1,500. I was down a little bit below 64, 63, something like that when I bought it. So 62, I can't remember where it was, but yeah, in probably 10 days, maybe 8 days. I don't know how long ago it was. A few days ago. Hasn't seemed like that long, and I was able to make that much of a profit in those few days. So anyway, that's why I continue to talk about it, because I think people should consider it as a solution for a place to put money in these times, these very difficult times where everything's closed. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.